Hello, class. Good morning. We are in section 6 of this of Information Security Organization. Now, the section 6 we'll be discussing about organization of information security, how information security is being organized. So, in this slide, we will be discussing. We talk about our coordinations of efforts. We explain that. I also describe the information security responsibility allocation. And then the third one, which we are going to explain the minimum security requirement. So these are the three subtopics we are going to explain in this session. So let's move forward. So the introductory part, in the introduction part, which is the management in an organization must involve and actively support security issues by giving clear direction to the employee and take complete control of the matters involving security concerns and the management tasks also regards to all this which I will be explaining one after the other. The organization you are working with, okay, the organization, they are the one, the management are the one to make sure that the security, how they will organize everything will be what both all the support that is needed for direction and everything to all employees. So they are the one to make to arrange that, to manage that and everything, yeah, in every area. And the management task is the management task in this regard includes these are listed here, which is imparting clear direction and support for information security ini- initiative by providing adequate resources, policy, everything that is needed has to be provided by the water management. Everything needed to what everything needed in the organization concerning the security, information security, has to be provided by the what? By the management. Now, number two, security effort coordination throughout the enterprise by forming group and supervisor. Here, this is where we will be having the lead, the team lead. We should be having a group, the team, the team member. We will be having the supervisors according to organization structure. They are also the one to arrange that also, and creations, reviews, and approval of information security policy in the organization. They are the one. They are also in charge of creating it, review, and approval of the information security policy in the organization also. And number four, which is frequent evaluation to check effectiveness of policy and modifying them as needed. Now they are also in charge of reviewing it after the implementation, after they have passed everything, creation, approval of the policy. They are also to review it, evaluate it if the policy is is fulfilling the purpose why it is created. Are you with me? So that is so they have to review it, and then if there's any loopholes in the policy, they have to make amendment, they have to change, they have to update it. And we also have from number five, which is suitable management control over new information facilities, system, and capabilities also. So they are also in charge of these ones also. And then coordination of effort. And then when we are talking of coordination of effort, we are talking about staff or designated representative from various parts of the enterprise should coordinate information security activities with respect to specific security rules and functions. Those are the ones that are in charge, that you'll be the one to coordinate. Each person which is being picked in each enterprise afterwards respect the specific security role and function which is being was given to them, which will be handled by the staffs or designated representative. So number one, the activity are as follows, which is number one, to make sure all information regarding security control are implemented, complying with information privacy and security policy. They have to make sure that they are in compliance with everything, they are complying with every policy, the security policy and everything, they are in compliance with everything. And number two, take effort to assess the sufficiency of executed control and recommend supplementary measure as required. And then number three, suggest modification to assessment methodologies and processes, and get executive approval. If there's any loophole in the former methodology of assessment, you recommend a new one, and it has to be approved by the executives or the board member or the supervisor. Number four, analyze information security incident management data throughout the organization and report this to suitable management and suggest suitable remediation plan also. And number five, recognize vulnerability and threat changes internally and externally and suggest action. Uh, you have to you will do vulnerability assessment to detect if there's any threat leverage on any of the information system. So both internally within the company and externally, if the one externally will also affect the organization, and make a suggestion or action that we can take to mitigate the risk. And then number six, which is to assist in providing security awareness and training to all people involved within the organizations. So these are the area will be these are the coordination of efforts we are talking about. And then we're talking about allocation of information security responsibility. Well, here the information security rules and responsibilities have to be distinctly defined. It has to be what specific, it has to be defined, it has to be what defined here. And various control include identification, clear definition of assets, and security control for every facilities. Here, this is where we are going to identify every asset, their functions, what is the role of the asset, the information system, and what are the security control that is being what leveraged on them. This is what here is talking about. Number two, definition of the responsibility for an individual to ensure security for each facilities. Here, this is the person that's been assigned. This is the here. This is we are talking about the person who is being assigned, the subject who is being assigned to manage the security, or the kind of security who will be assigned to this what to this aspect. This is the part of the number two we are talking about. Definition of responsibility for an individual to ensure security of each facilities, which is uh, the role and responsibility of the person assigned to make sure that each information system is being what secured. Um, Procedure for authorization of information processing facilities. Number one, which is staff or designated representative from various parts of the enterprise should coordinate information security activities with respect to specific security role and functions. And then the control include official approval of purpose and use of new system, or for modification existing ones. We are talking about procedure of authorization of information processing facilities here, which is maybe you want to maybe uh, for also bringing new devices or to upgrade your old devices, you have procedures you have to follow, and the authorization on how we are going to upgrade them, modification, or how the official approval will come into place. So the officials approval of purpose and use of new system, or for modify existing or system. And number two, certification to how the new system, hardware or software meet organization standard. You need certification for that, how the new system is going to meet the organization standard. And number three, which is the consent of any non-standard task, location or user, including non-organization owned hardware slash software or facility. We need to seek their consent if there's no standard of non-standard tax, and then location and user, including non-organization hold hardware slash software or facilities, maybe those contract users or end users. So, and we also have this number four, which is certification to how new or modified system adhere to existing security control. So that is for the procedure. authorization of information processing facilities. Now we have confidentiality agreement. Need for confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements or NDA have to be shown, have to show the organization requirements for protection of information. These agreements have to be evaluated frequently. We have the various control words include one, specified definition of information, the type of information, and information system to be safeguarded, the type of devices or assets to be safeguarded, and number two, confidentiality needs for that particular information with specific regulatory terms that suit with us statutory, regulatory, and private or certifying authority. This also has to be put in place. And then responsibilities of executive who identify limitation or disclosure of information and compliance to security control. This also has to be what put in place. And then specified terms of ownership of information, which include trade secrets or intellectual property needs. This also have to be what put in place also. So let's talk about confidentiality. We are still talking about confidentiality agreement also. Number five, expected duration of the agreement, and then action to take when agreement is terminated, including discarding method of information. Has to be what discarded. And then with this one, we are talking about third party or staff that work with us and then they are leaving. And then action to take during the event breach, what to be done, and then procedure for reporting of breach. How do we also report if there's any breach? And then right to monitor compliance with the agreement. Based on agreement being signed, you have to put the right to monitor every compliance with what every compliance, every action you are taking. If you are not complying, action, proper action to be taken care of. Contact with authorities. As needed, contact with suitable external authorities should be maintained. Various have to be maintained. How do we contact the authorities? Should we use a stress code? We should press the button. It is send signal to the authorities that maybe something is happening. If it is a bank, you see that there's always a button that you press that will send a signal to the police station or the security authority that you know that something is wrong in the bank, maybe a bank robbery or there's any problem or issues around. So various control include policy, procedure, and contact list development, which specify situation for external authority to be contacted and by whom and who is going to do that. And then details about timing and approach to follow a report was breaches. So this one is also method for what contact with authorities. And the contact with special interest group. When we are talking of contact with special interest group, which can be uh, well, which is maintenance of contact with special interest group and specialized security forum need to be done also, which is review of information security independently. When we are talking of this part, we are talking about independent review of information security is needed as planned. Frequency to check the organization approach to supervising information security and its implementation. This has to be done as and when there are any modification in the internal structure or external environment of the organization. Also, this have to be what to be put in place. Also, and then let's move to the minimum security requirements. I'm talking of the minimum security requirement. The organization has to make sure to converse security of the organization data and data processing facility that are accessed, processed, and or managed by outsider parties. This is done by first by identification of risk related to external parties and suitable control need to be implemented before providing authorization for access. And these are the controls that we are talking about. We are talking about risk evaluation to find any need for specific control, considering attributes of the external users, their access types, and the value of the sensitive information involved. And then you also have specific contracts with terms and conditions of access and security controls. And we also have implementation of thorough security control prior to access permission. This is the implementation where every security requirement are will be implemented before giving permission to have access to it. So scope of minimum security requirements, we have the MRS, which is the minimum security requirement, specify computer-based protection mechanism for the design, use, and the management of information system. These requirements include technical measures that can be incorporated into what multi-users. This is the technical measure. We have multi-users, remote access, resource sharing, and information sharing computer system. This is what these are the scope of minimum security requirement. This has to be implemented, which is more than one user will use the information system, and then remote access. Others remote access can also, and then resource sharing and information sharing. Your information sharing computer work system has to be implemented in this area also. And then system conforming to this protection profile are intended to be useful to a broad base of users, including in commercial, civil government, national defense environment. And then recognizing the IT products vendors operate IT vendors operate in an international marketplace. This profile has been built to complement international efforts such as the IT security and international standard organization ISO initiative. These are what have been implemented, which we have to follow the standard and the rest. And the contact and contract with external parties. We have contact and what? Contract with external parties. A legal arrangement or agreement with outside third parties that involve accessing, processing, and communicating or managing the company information or data processing facilities should have all suitable security posture. And then when you are bringing in third party, maybe contract based on contract, someone that wants to work with the company, managing the data, the information processing, and everything, communication with the managing everything has to be in the contract agreement, which you have to be what, and the security part has to be there. And then we have the key points of agreement should include all this. When you are making the agreement, it should include number one, suitable information security policies of all contracting and external organizations have to be what put in place. Suitable uh, best what security policy or for contracting slash external organization. And number two, all control more all controls must all controls to make sure policy are followed and complied. Everything the organization are doing, the third party or the external bodies are doing with the what with the organization information system has to be what to be comply with the policy which is being what laid down. And number three, training efforts for users and system administrator awareness. All these things have to be in place. And number four, which is very distinct change management procedure have to be in place. Also, a very clear and distinct process of incident management, which include reporting, notification, and investigation procedure have to be in the contract agreement also. And number three, which is the solving steps, which include escalation and procedure have to also to be what implemented. And we also have comprehensive reporting structure, reporting format, content, and frequency has to be in the what contract agreement also. And level of acceptable and unacceptable service and service continuity have to be there. Maybe if the level of the standard of services to be given, if it is less than that, there can be service continuity can be what can be breached, that we can what discontinue our services with you. If you are not giving us this kind of standard service, we will not what we will not continue our agreements with you. That's for that. Also, we have to be divine and divining of performance criteria that can be what verify also has to be there. Number 10, rights to monitor and audit activities of this external body has to be in place. And number 10, ownership and intellectual property rights has to be in the what contract agreement also. And then you have regulations regarding subcontractors has to be there also. And then reason for termination of agreement or renegotiation of agreement has to be put in place also, has to be in the contract agreement. So this marks the ending the summary of today's class, which is the management support. Management must support information security in an enterprise by giving clear regulation and the rest and so forth. This is what this is the end of today's class. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer your question.